Hello there, people of the internet. So, I've been experimenting with a couple decks for the last 2 weeks, ever since the boy got limited to one. One of those decks just happened to be Salamangreat, and for the most part, I like the deck. So, here's what I got for the deck. For the main deck monsters, we have 3 Foxies, 1 Gazelle, 3 Spinny, 1 Jack, 1 Fowl, 1 Falco, 2 Lady Debug, 2 Flame Buffalo, and 3 Ash Blossoms. For those of you who don't know, Foxy helps get out more Salamangreat cards by normal summoning, and by excavating 3 from the top of the deck and adding a Salamangreat card from those excavated cards, and the rest get shuffled back in. It also helps out with starting plays for Balinks. On the plus side, he summons himself from the graveyard for future plays by discarding a Salamangreat card. So, you can do more Link summons with him if you need to. Gazelle summons himself whenever a Salamangreat monster goes to the graveyard, whether it be from deck or whether it be from hand or from field. He will summon himself when it's sent. Plus, on his summon effect, he is also a foolish for any Salamangreat card, which is really useful for getting things like Roar or Jack Jaguar into the graveyard. Spinny is an extender for Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf, and could also be a starting play for Balinks, and just for future plays as well when you need it. Jack Jaguar helps with recycling things like Sunlight Wolf or Heat Leo, plus you can summon him and immediately link him off for another Balinks, so that you still have a Salamangreat Link monster for Roar. Salamangreat Fowl summons himself from hand whenever a Salamangreat card is summoned, and he is a Trickstar Reincarnation-like effect, where he can target a set card and it cannot be activated for the turn. He's also a great extender for Sunlight Wolf or Heat Leo and things like that. Falco's really good for resetting cards for when you don't have access to Sunlight Wolf, so you can reset the Roar, or if you already used Sunlight Wolf's effect for Roar, and you have a Rage in the graveyard, you can send Falco with the effect of Gazelle, or anything that sends anything to the grave, and Falco will reset the Rage as well. So you have 2 interruptions. Lady Debug, it's pretty self-explanatory, it's a searcher, and it helps to facilitate Balinks. Buffalo is basically a trade-in for Cyber's monsters when it leaves the field. So when you link it off for a Balinks, it'll trigger that effect to draw 2 after discarding a Cyber's monster. And Ash Blossom is Ash Blossom, pretty self-explanatory there. Something really cute you could do with Ash Blossom though is when you summon to a zone Sunlight Wolf points to, you can add back Ash Blossom from the grave. For the main deck spells, we have 1 Circle, 3 Silent Minings, 3 Wills, 1 Sanctuary, 2 Twin Twisters, 3 Call by the Grave, 1 Upstart, 1 Foolish Burial, and 1 Foolish Burial Goods. If you're lucky and you open up Salamangreat Circle during your draw phase, you can immediately play it to search out a Salamangreat monster, and you won't get Draw Unlocked Bird because you activated it in the draw phase. So that's really cute. If you activate Silent Mining and you discard a Salamangreat monster and add Gazelle, you can immediately summon Gazelle for Foolish, and if you send like a Spinny for the cost of Silent Mining, you can just summon Spinny right back and continue on with your plays. Originally, I was only going to play 2 wills, but then I talked to the community, and I realized how important it is to run 3, so that you can recover your plays and help out starting plays, and send it to the graveyard for potential OTKs, so 3 is massively necessary. Not too sure how I feel about just 1 Sanctuary. I thought about putting in 2. The downside of having 2 is it can be really bricky if you draw into it, especially if you draw into 2. On the upside is if your opponent opens up evenly matched, which I've had happen to me a couple times actually, and you have a Sunlight Wolf and a Sanctuary and a few back row on the board, instead of having to banish the Sunlight Wolf to keep the Sanctuary, you can just banish the Sanctuary, keep the Sunlight Wolf. I don't know how I feel about either of those 2 though. I'm not too sure how I feel about Twin Twisters either. It seems like every single time I have Twin Twisters set, I only have 1 card in hand, and that 1 card is either Ash Blossom or Gazelle. So I have to choose between keeping that card for later plays or using Twin Twisters. I might end up using Cosmic Cyclone so that I don't have to choose between negating a search or destroying 2 back row. I don't really need to go over Call by the Grave. I think we all know why it's there. Disruptions for the graveyard and hand traps. Upstart Goblin, I really like the idea of running a 39 card deck, so it's also a side out option. Foolish Burial, I really like that as well, because if I have a Gazelle in hand and another Salamangreat monster in hand, I can use Foolish Burial to send like a Spinny, and special summon the Gazelle, and send another card like Roar, and normal summon like a Jack Jaguar. Or if I have Spinny in hand, and I can send Jack Jaguar from deck, it just opens up a lot more options. And plus, it can help out with starting plays, if I don't have another card in hand. Foolish Burial Goods, I would like that as well, for when I don't open up a Gazelle, and I don't open up any draw power, or like a Roar or a Rage. I can get that to the graveyard, and get it out anyways with Sunlight Wolf later on. Not too much for the traps. We have 3 impermanents, 2 Roars, and 2 Rage. Impermanent is pretty self-explanatory. Roar is a activation negation, and Rage is onboard destruction. So for the extra deck, we have 3 Balinks, 3 Sunlight Wolf, 2 Heat Leo, 1 original and 1 reincarnated, 2 Pyro Phoenixes. I don't have a second one physically, so just imagine it's there. 1 Transcode Oracle, 1 Hita, 1 Update Jammer, 1 Burload, and 1 Avermax. Baylink searches out Sanctuary, and it's a Return of the Dragon Lord-like effect for banishing itself to protect Salamangreat cards. Sunlight Wolf is basically recovery from the graveyard to add back Roar or Rage, and it also recovers, like previously discussed, Ash Blossom or Gazelle. Heat Leo shuffle things from the spell trap zone back to the deck, and if it's reincarnated, it targets a monster your opponent controls and a monster in your graveyard, and the attack of your opponent's monster becomes equal to the monster that you targeted in your graveyard. And by the way, it says the monster, not Salamangreat monster. So you can target Ash Blossom, and your opponent's monster becomes 0. So it's just a really cute tip there. Pyro Phoenix wipes out your opponent's board when it's reincarnated, and it can summon a link monster from your opponent's graveyard to their side of the board, and it inflicts burn damage when it when it does. Transcode Conquer increases the attack of whatever it's co-linked to by 500, and itself by 500, and it makes it so that your opponent can't target either of those two with card effects. Hita just helps out with plays if your opponent has a fire-type monster in the graveyard, and you can summon something like Sunlight Wolf and Heat Leo when you normally wouldn't be able to do it on your own. I don't typically use the first effect update jammer. I'm mostly linking it off so that I can give Burload a second attack. And Burload and Avermax are pretty self-explanatory. Though I did see some builds not run Avermax, and I tried not to run it Avermax. But I came across a combo of Blue Eyes, Chaos Max Dragon, and Ultimate Falcon. So I couldn't do anything, and I lost, and it was awful. Lastly, the side deck, we have 3 Dark Allure No More, 3 Nibiru, 3 Evenly Matched, 3 Lightning Storm, and 3 Phantasme. Unfortunately, I don't own Phantasme as of yet, so use your imagination. The side deck is pretty self-explanatory. It's just basically board negation and board wipes for when I need them for going second, if my opponent makes me go second, or if I'm making my opponent go first, which is a viable strategy sometimes. I've been testing the deck for about a week and a half now, and I've seen some people run Lingaribo for trap negation. That's not a bad option. And I've seen some people run Lingaribo instead of Pyro Phoenix. I've also been thinking about taking out the foolish spells in favor of hand traps like DD Crow, so that when my opponent makes me go second for the first turn, I have more hand traps to interrupt my opponent's plays. I've been seeing a lot of people run Nibiru in the main deck. Personally, I don't like running Nibiru in the main deck because it could be potentially a brick for when your opponent doesn't summon 5 times, or if they don't summon at all. And I've tried running Nibiru in the main deck when I was playing ABC, and I ran into that problem multiple times, and I tried running it in the main deck in Salamangreat as well, and I still ran into that problem. So, it's situationally useful. Speaking of Nibiru, hard to swallow pills is when you get your board set up, or almost set up, and your opponent drops the Nibiru. Ow. It hurts. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like what you're seeing, hit that subscribe button down below, and hit that bell icon to get notified of all my doings here on this channel. My name is Brent, I am Maxed Out Weird, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.